Hi everybody, Dana Booth again, National Education Manager for Educate to Earn and AmeriFirst Financial, and we're here to talk about Fast Track to Inspired Speaking, Part 6. Speaking to Inspire Action. Let's get started today. Today we're going to cover a review of where we've gone, the importance of fun facts in a presentation, and how to win the listing in action. Did you do your homework? Did you come up with a speaker that you'll most want to emulate? One of my favorite speakers is Jeff Gitomer, Gitomer, Jeff Gitomer. And he's the one who has written the book called Customer Satisfaction is Worthless, Customer Loyalty is Priceless. And he starts his speeches sometimes and saying, hey, when's the last time you think your customers are satisfied with you? When's the last time one of your customers liked your service so much they tattooed the logo of your company on their rear end? And then he says, do you know a company like that, where people love the company so much they'll put the tattoo of the company on their behind? And of course it's Harley Davidson is the first one to come to thinking. It really puts it in perspective in terms of what people really think of your service. And then decide on what class you'll learn and practice first. I think it's really important. If you're going to do CE, and you certainly don't have to, it's not the end-all be-all. Presenting is the end-all be-all. But if you're going to present, you might as well do CE. You might as well give agents 3 hours. They all need 24 every 2 years in Arizona alone. And give them those 3 hours and give them information while you do it that helps them and helps bond them to you. But which one did you decide on? And we always say, let's walk before we run. Easier for me to say. And so let's figure out which class you want to start with first and learn and master that class, then move on to the rest. And if you haven't already, develop your why. What is your why? Again, my why is I'm Dana Booth. I wake up inspired every day to inspire others so we can change this whole industry, both in real estate and in lending, from one that's known of as takers to one that's known of as givers. So let's revisit and review. It's a technique that we use to accentuate a point, embed it in the student's brain, in our own brain sometimes. Hearing something for the first time sometimes has no effect on the student. When they hear it again, their brain is ready to accept the thought. I'm repeating this, as you'll notice, over and over again, so it'll be in your brain. Let's revisit and review some points. Speaking on things you know and care about. Speak confidently about what you know, and be careful not to say too much about what you don't know. Okay, that's easy to say, so how do I gain confidence? The answer comes in preparation and research. Preparation means practice and gathering the information that you need so you can give a top-notch presentation and appear as expert in your field. Once you've researched and prepared, it's time to rehearse. Rehearsing, of course, is practice. If you don't prepare, you'll have to repair. That was from Mark Twain. And he also said, if you want me to give you a 2-hour presentation, I'm ready today. If you want me to give you a 5-minute speech, it'll take me 2 weeks to prepare. So let's talk about fun facts. Fun facts accomplish 3 things. Number 1, they give you instant credibility. They give the student the indication that you care enough about your subject to come up with things that may not even apply to the subject, but you've spent time preparing yourself to entertain them. Number 2, they provide a humorous function. And number 3, they give examples of interesting conversation starters. Sometimes we tell agents it's really as simple as being able to start a conversation, that is, getting business. So if you want to get business, start conversations with strangers and see what happens. It's amazing what will develop. Here's some fun facts. 4 phones are lost each day at Niagara Falls. Imagine that. $1 million was the price for the most expensive parking lot in New York City. 6 seconds is how long a recruiter looks at your resume before tossing it in the circular file. There are 96 laws in Deck the Halls. Facebook processes 2.4 billion likes per day. There are 5.8 billion impulse buys in the supermarkets per year. 246 licks to finish a Tootsie Roll Pop. Now that one might seem a little silly, but your purpose is to entertain and inject some humor sometimes. And when you come up with something like that, people are amazed when people know little bits of trivia. Here's another one. 110 ridges on a U.S. dime. A giraffe has 7 vertebrae, same as a human. They're just a lot bigger. A drop of rain is 50 times the weight of a mosquito. Electric eels generate enough juice to power 10 light bulbs. And there are 42,000 zip codes in the U.S. By the way, Ketchikan, Alaska has the highest zip code, 99950. There isn't one that's 99951. GE in Schenectady, New York has the zip code 12345. A giraffe has 7 vertebrae, the same as a human. I think that's a repeat. Wow, I guess we're going to know that one. 1% of all Google searches are recipes. $1.36 a year is the cost to charge an iPad. And 58% of cat owners buy their pet a Christmas gift. Google your own fun facts and add to your presentation. Again, people tell me all the time that they can't be funny like I am. I don't really think I'm funny. I just figure out how to say fun things to people that make them laugh. You can Google it if you don't know how yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about Win the Listing. And in the following pages, we're going to discuss the approach and how to present the class, the mindset, how to win the listing before the appointment. When we originally wrote this class, we decided we were either going to call it that or we were going to call it How to Win the Listing without having to give a discount, which is an even better one, and an idea for a lunch and learn. As you go through the agenda, I think it's important to note that really what we're doing, again, what's your end in mind and your one thought, we're going to give you and expose you, students, to 6 tools you can use to promote yourself in real estate. We're also going to talk about a thorough understanding of expectations by sellers. Now, some people might think they know everything sellers expect. I've got enough experience, I've been in the business 30 years, and so forth. But what do they expect in the market today? You know, it's often been said that people, clients, sellers, and buyers, lots of times they have enough information to become dangerous in a subject. They have information that might not even be accurate, but they believe it to be true. So what are their expectations? And then the steps to complete the ultimate listing presentation before you even meet the seller. What tools you need to wow your seller, and those are those 6 tools, and why those tools are necessary in today's market. And if you really are interested in these tools and you want to get some coaching, we've got some people that can help you coach. In this slide, it's funny because sometimes students will say, didn't you mean to say ingredients to make the best listing presentation? And then I'll laugh at myself and say, no, ingredients to bake the listing presentation, like baking a pie. It's kind of a play on words, obviously not very funny. And then everybody laughs. A single property website account. Of course, we're going to promote agentmarketing.com without promoting it. That's the one we use, that's the one we know, that's the one we've worked with at AmeriFirst Financial for about 4 years now, or even maybe a little longer, on trying to make it like Facebook, user-friendly, simple, point and shoot, plug and play. A blogging account, and everything you need to know about blogging. A YouTube account. We're going to convey that only 12% of the real estate industry has a YouTube account, and how vital that can be if you want to appear innovative and not like the rest of the agents people perceive. Facebook account and the importance of Facebook. Did you know that Facebook has over 1 billion accounts? Granted, some people have multiple accounts, but 1 billion is 1 billion. In fact, there are only 7 billion people in the entire planet, and Facebook has over 1 billion accounts. If in fact our job as an agent, a real estate agent, is to expose ourselves as relevant, tech-savvy professional and better than other agents, wouldn't Facebook be a place I'd want to be on? Twitter is coming along as the younger generation's new way of communicating. LinkedIn is another tool we can show them. Craigslist. And don't forget, Cloud CMA, one of the best tools ever invented for a real estate agent. So how do sellers see us? They see us as a professional marketer. Now in this part of the class you can say, you know, let's ask ourselves the question, why doesn't the seller put the sign, the Fttis Vi sign, out in front of their house and sell the house themselves? This is a great chance and a great opportunity for you to get people to discuss. And as they discuss their feelings in a class, back and forth, you're going to see come to the surface their needs, their desires, what's missing from their life, slowly but surely. The role of the listing agent is varied, but in the minds of sellers, you are a professional marketer and you know how to market a listing a lot better than they do. So what do sellers want of us in this market, or any market for that matter? They want us to, as Tommy Hopkins says, sell the house for the most amount of money in the least amount of time at the least amount of inconvenience to them. They want to not be hassled. They want you to market the home everywhere at your expense. Now, keep in mind, folks, that we can be talking about any one of these bullet points for 5 minutes or more, and feel free to do so, as you'll find that if you read the PowerPoint, just rotely read it, you're going to finish the class in 2 hours or less. So take time to talk about how you might be able to help the seller feel like their home is the best in the subdivision, or how you might be able to help the seller sell the house in the fastest amount of time. To have no inconvenience to their schedule. For you to show the home without them having to tidy up or repair anything in the house, and to do this at a reduced fee because that's what happened last time they sold their home. For you to consistently justify why they feel they're paying you to do your job, especially when everyone they know is a realtor. And if that's not enough, you need to get them more money than Zillow says their home is worth. Well, there's a bullet point that I can definitely talk to about 5 minutes. And if I ask the crowd to discuss their feelings about Zillow, it's usually not very positive. Here's the tools again: a single property website account, a blogging account, video, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Craigslist. You can eliminate the last three and replace it with Cloud CMA and be just fine in this presentation. I always stop at this point and say, hey, listen, if you never open a Twitter account, it's all going to be okay. And LinkedIn, well, LinkedIn's an account or a platform, I should say, where people who really use LinkedIn and know it swear by it. In this slide, we're going to talk about how the old way of marketing was using static media. That's unmoving, motionless media that doesn't interact. Is that cost effective? Sure, you can get the word out, but at what cost? In the good old days, we built relationships by shaking hands, networking, working a room, and friendships. We had core fundamentals, and every interaction was precious. Well, I knew people back then who were very transactional and didn't see the business as relationship oriented, because we had no options at the time other than to use static media and the old ways of doing business. Now, at this point, I will probably tell the group, the old ways of doing business, in my opinion, are always going to be the best ways of doing business, and you shouldn't stop doing business the old way. But in order to stand out in this new world to younger people who are getting older every day, we want to be relevant. At this point, I may say, can anyone tell me who the most relevant realtor is in the Valley of the Sun here on television? And every single person, there's never been a person in any class who hasn't said Russell Shaw. And I'll say, isn't that interesting? Russell Shaw specializes in one thing: listing and selling homes with a maximum sale price of $500,000, and he promises to sell that home in 30 days, or mind you, you can fire me. And that's a really good point, because it conveys that going far and deep in a niche area is really the way to go, rather than to do all things, be jack of all trades and master of none. To stand out, it would be nice that we're technologically savvy, using tools that really make our job easier and really expose ourselves in ways in this Google world that we never knew we could before. Seen as innovative. And one way to do that is to use video. Start sending video emails and see how innovative people think you are. And of course, using all the tools that are successful in what we call a Google world. At this point, I will look at the class and say, can you all raise your hand? And I want everyone to participate. Just raise your hand if you have Googled something in the last 30 days. And there's usually one or two people that haven't in a room of 30 or more. So are you tech savvy? And this slide is designed really for what we call the technological immigrant, the person over 30, where the older you are, the more challenging new things are to you. We don't want complicated things when we're over 30 because our hard drive feels like it's full. And so we're more challenged than the younger generation on technology. But we've just put this test to them and we say, do you have an iPhone or a smartphone? Most people do. More people are. And would you be without your iPhone or smartphone if you could? Would you do it? Would you let it happen? Could you go back to the old ways of doing business where we had MLS books that were catalogs? Have you sent a text message or abbreviated one in the near future or recent future? Have you sent an email via your cell phone or received one? Have you used a DVR? Have you used GPS? How about an electronic lockbox? And the point is, you already are tech savvy. You're just not thinking that you are. And new concepts are going to be a little bit more difficult for you than they would be for the younger generation. But you've already embraced technology and you're already using it successfully and becoming more efficient because you're using technology. And then we come to the slide that is one of my favorites. In really putting this together and writing this presentation, we came upon Google's book, The Zero Moment of Truth, called ZMOD. It's the idea that consumers no longer show up at a store, they do their shopping with their device, their tablet, or their computer. The world of house hunters has become increasingly what we call digital as well. They watch how-to videos on YouTube, don't you? They Google everything for their needs, for their knowledge. They even Google on how to use their smartphones. They use smartphones and tablets. Google real estate related searches on mobile devices grew 120% year over year from 2011 to 2012. Now, that's dated information, but just imagine how much it's grown since then. Real estate related searches on Google have skyrocketed. And the truth is, today's shoppers bounce back and forth at their own pace, getting as much information as they desire, and they like more than less. This is one of those rare cases, in my opinion, in the world where more is more in a multi-channel marketplace. This slide, the intent was to display the digital house hunt, consumer market trends in real estate, done by the NAR in conjunction with Google. And what they found was almost everybody uses online techniques, online tools during the home buying process. We also found that shoppers will perform an average of 11 searches online before they even call an agent. That 52% of real estate brand sites come directly from a local search on a search engine. And here's something really telling. Look at the second one here. 89% searched for an agent online. People are literally blown away when you tell them that. Look at this one down here. 5% use TV and radio. Russell Shaw is in that 5%. But I tell people that Russell did $56 million the last time I checked the previous 12-month history. So in order to be found online, you need to be, I don't know if you need to be, but it certainly would be nice if you were. Everywhere. Now that's not really everywhere, is it? But certainly, if you were on Facebook, social media, if you blogged, if you had knowledge of how to put a listing or develop a single property website, if you understood Zillow and Google and YouTube, how would that change your life? How would that change your business? I stop everyone and caution them at this point and say, look, the way to get the most out of this class is to figure out the tools that I'm teaching you and rank them in accordance with which one you think might positively affect your business first. And then I ask them what the number one most visited site on the internet is. Certainly enough, it's Google. Number 2 and 3 are Facebook and YouTube, and by the way, YouTube is owned by Google. So how do we exceed sellers' expectations? That's what we're trying to do. Not only that, how do we show that we're different, more innovative, more professional, and further advanced than the other agents that are applying for the same job? Well, we can demonstrate a marketing plan that involves syndication. We talk about syndication, and that syndication is really exposure for your property using media. Social media dominance. Let's cross that out and say social media competence. An understanding of social media that we can convey to the seller that will help them realize that we can expose their property better than anybody they're going to meet. Video virility. An understanding how we can make not just videos, but Facebook posts and social media viral. That's people share it, and then they share it, and then they share it, and so forth. A Google presence. Well, certainly we all know what that is. One of the favorite lines from an AmeriFirst loan officer is, I can get your listing on the first page of a Google search. Mastery of that, just that, being seen online, which is called search engine optimization. Having the ability, and this is important, to expose your listings, not just locally, not just in the state, not just in the United States, but to the entire universe via the single property website, and how to turn on a tap of potential customers that will be attracted to your home. And obviously in here, we're talking about stories and examples that we can give them that show that this stuff works, that TSW, this stuff works. So how do I syndicate? And then we tell them you can use one or all of the following services individually or at great expense. And we show them how to do that using a single property website. We introduce them to real estate search engines they already know, but we make them see it in a different way. What we do is we recommend that they use agent marketing. It's free if they work with us, so we're not selling anything. But this is how it works. What if when you arrive at the listing, you could have had this done? The property you're visiting is already on the first page of a Google search. Now you can insert your own search, or you can insert your own blogging results in that space as well. Just shoot to a different screen and show it. So that's it for now. We're going to just give you a flavor of how to win the listing before the appointment. We're going to give you action homework, and that's decide on what class you'd like to learn. Make some notes on slides that you don't understand or need clarification on. I know that you can do that because I even have questions on slides that I wrote. A little humor there to end it. Practice, practice, practice. Always practicing. How am I going to present? I'm rehearsing my lines just like Tom Hanks. So that's the end of Module 6. In Module 7, we're going to talk about where we've been, how to commit to this, and then student learning styles. Try to find out how to understand that not everyone's going to receive your message in the same way. And then we'll go through and we're going to talk about planning for agent success and how to teach that class. Remember, one person in an audience could change your life. So stay with this. Just keep calm and keep pushing forward with your commitment. Well, thanks for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you in Module 7.